Hi, Justin Bergen here from Five Loaves Two Fish Farm here in North Carolina. We're out here doing a food ministry permaculture project, and this is part 2 of the lawn to garden session videos that I wanted to do. Last time I was just gotten a large pile of compost, and as you see, I spread the compost out throughout the yard, made some beds. This is about as far as it was able to go with about 10 yards of compost. And this is all we're going to do this year. We got here late this year, and we barely have it's the end of April, and we just barely have the babies plants sprouting in the greenhouse. So I am doing my best to get all these beds ready for them as soon as possible. I just wanted to show that I did till all the grass. I only really went as deep as the roots, just to kind of help fight the grass. Grass can be one of the hardest things that a permaculturist comes to deal with, especially with limited resources. When first beginning, the first year of permaculture is always going to be the most work, the most running around trying to collect resources. Resources are a key factor to permaculture. It comes in different forms that we can look for it. Sometimes it's going out into the woods collecting it, and sometimes it's actually supporting local farmers and purchasing it, which we did with the compost this year. And also we bought some hay from a local farmer as well that was selling his old hay bales to make room for new supplies that he was about to cut. So I think it's really good to, permaculture extends to the community as well. Our relationship to the community, our relationship with the earth, with the soil, with the plants, with the animals that live here. We want to live in harmony with everything. So it's a very broad term that has a lot of different layers to it. So this layer, we'll get into a lot of that later with different videos, but I wanted to show you. So after tilling this, I started raking up a little bit, but then I was like, well, this isn't what I usually do. What I would usually do is just let this stuff compost. It will disintegrate, it will decompose inside the soil. So the first step I do after tilling it, kind of raking it all together, because it'll spill out into the rows. I do like to personally leave ground cover lanes. Some people will call this weeds. I call it biomass. So I have a mower. I will go through, mow this, and then lay it out, let it dry out, and then that just creates more mulch for the flower beds, preparing for the food forest later. It's just a lot of mulch is going to be needed. So at the moment, I am actually welcoming the grass that is growing. It's grass, it's clover, it's all different kinds of plants. So it creates a lot of diversity. Diversity creates a lot of different kind of microorganisms. Microorganisms all do different things and provide different kinds of medicine for your soil that will help protect your plants, feed your plants, keep them healthy, keep them dynamic. And then we grow, what we're trying to do is grow use micro-diverse biology in order to grow dynamic food. So that also extends to the mulch that I use. So this I collected throughout the extended yard. Just areas that has collected along this fence here. On the other side, there was a good pile that the wind had blown into it. all that's doing is rotting my fence, so I raked it all up, spread it out, and then going through, I have some area, a pond area that needs to be cleared out, so I've been raking a lot of that area where there's going to be roads put in for tractor access, stuff like that. I try to save the mulch as much as possible in the actual food forest zones so that it can break down and actually continue to do its job inside of the forest. I will take a little bit here and there, but I'll always leave just enough for it to continue decomposing. But come fall, they're going to drop a bunch more leaves and continue the cycle. So the first thing I did was added a layer of about 3 to 4 inches of leaf mulch along each of these. That's going to help block out any grass that is still living. I probably killed maybe 90% of the grass that's in there, maybe 10% is still alive. And as long as we cover it, it will help to stifle that growth as much as possible. But it doesn't mean that there won't be grass popping out here and there. I'll just take a trowel when I have time, dig it out a little bit, and just put it on top, let the sun dry its roots out, and let it decompose over time. After laying a nice thick bed of leaf mulch, that's what I bought the hay for. I like to add another layer. It's pretty thin, maybe 1 inch, 2 inches at the most, along the top of it. And what that's going to do is help to keep the leaves from drying out. It'll help it keep them very moist, and then those leaves will turn into leaf mold very quickly and start breaking down and creating a lot of really, really good microbiology and food for the plants and for the soil. And then as it rains, it'll start to sink down into the earth, into the soil beneath it that is still undisturbed, and enriching it with and yeah, we'll be able to dig under there in like a year or two, and a foot down it's still going to be nice, dark, rich soil. Worms are going to come, start eating the leaf mulch. It's going to be just like a little haven for worms. So that doing this is starting the process of attracting life to become more dynamic in these areas. So I feel like that covers a lot of it. Another thing that I like to personally do is there's these branches that I grab. Here's only one here. Lining, I'm going to line the entire beds with branches. I'm using also some branches over there. Those are going to be rails for a fence that I'm going to install to keep the deers out. That little black fence isn't going to be enough, so this will end up eventually, as I mulch it for a few seasons, it's going to raise up, and so I like to have a border that goes along. This, I'm going to probably try to find as much poplar as I can to do this with. Poplar is a softer hardwood that decomposes faster when it's touching the ground. If you raise it off the ground and it's not touching the ground and you got a good 18 inches really, you can use poplar. They make great wood for cabins. But if it's on the ground, it's going to rot really fast. And we have a lot of poplar. I'm going to lay a lot of it down so it decomposes quickly. But I'm going to also salvage some for cabins, which is another video. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, this is pretty much how I go about changing grass into garden. There'll be very little upkeep once we're in this area, and it will very quickly richen your soil underneath the mulch. And as we plant, it'll put more carbon and just regenerate these areas, these beds. I'm going to do annuals in these gardens for probably just 2 years, and then I'm going to start filling it with perennials, maybe some citrus trees, artichoke, things like this, asparagus, mint, you know, just whatever, any kind of perennials that I want to, and just, you know, even flowers, lavender, you know, whatever it is that I feel like doing. And yeah, just this is kind of more the backyard area for where we'd like to bring guests and stuff too, so it's going to be kind of best of both worlds. So yeah, I feel like planning these kind of things is the first step. I got a couple of other videos that I'll be putting out shortly. One of them is about planning your pond, looking at your property, kind of how to look at your property and make plans. That way you kind of know what you're doing. I have a long list of stuff to do, so I just want to kind of like do a video that shows how I came up with this list, how to prioritize depending on your needs. I'm going to do another video here soon about how to collect blueberries. I'm going to be cultivating blueberries here, and we have a big blueberry tree. So that's going to be another video, is a great way, once you have an established blueberry tree, how to gather other trees a little quicker than, you know, the what you've probably seen more is cutting it and rooting the branches. I'm gonna show you something a little different. Hope you look forward to it. Like and subscribe our page, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.